Parrish, how you doing, man?
I'm well, so I'm gonna take my mask off.
Yeah, it's fine. It's been a minute since the last time I saw you, brother.
I'm blessed, man.
Yeah, I want to get you for a few minutes to talk about the clothing business.
Okay.
You know, we spent a lot of time in the clothing business.
Right.
I want to go back to the time we met. And if you remember, that was a time on 18th Street and 6th Avenue. That was the renewal of that area. Traditionally, that was the place they used to call the Ladies' Mile. And it had been pretty much unoccupied. It was sort of partly residential, partly industrial, light manufacturing was in that area. But then I think Old Navy had come there, and Bed Bath & Beyond, and we moved in across the street.
Correct.
At what at that time used to be today's Man's Store. Now, they were a Philadelphia-based company that came to New York. They opened up a bunch of stores, and we happened to be together in their store on 6th Avenue and 18th Street. It was one of the really first big box men's stores. And I want you to talk about that experience when we met and you first got into the trade.
Well, I mean, it was my first foray really into menswear retail. And I have to say, I thank you so much for taking me under your wing, mentoring me, teaching me the business, number one. But Today's Man was a prolific company that was really moving aggressively in the Northeast market. And I came at the right time to really start learning the business. I think it was the early 90s, 94, 95.
Exactly.
And that's when we met. And we forged such a great relationship. Everyone had so much respect for you because of the knowledge, you being a business owner and things of that nature. But knowing some about fashion, but you teaching me about menswear because I didn't know that. And just understanding the construction, quality, how to dress, how you're supposed to. You said to me, you always teach, you said they're going to see you before they talk to you. You know, so we always have to be sharp. You always have to be on point, especially in your man of color. You have to be on point. They look at you before they speak to you. You know, so I think my knowledge grew from that. And then basically going on to work for the Men's Warehouse, and then my foray into custom, which you introduced me to again, in the custom shop. Going into that and teaching me, you learn this business is the future of menswear. And then taking that knowledge, because I was so entrenched in it and learning the craft that I had this idea to start my own business. And then talking to you, you said, Parrish, go for it. I remember we were Wall Street.
But I want you to go back to the time of the marketplace.
Okay.
I want you to talk a little bit about what the environment was in retail, you know, building relationships with customers and that person-to-person kind of relationship that has been lost.
Yeah.
So I kind of want you to talk a little bit about what that environment was like back then.
The environment was, I mean, specifically in that area because it was such under new development, and it was a new menswear store. People would come in and you were forged to build a relationship with people because you want these people to return here, and they trusted you. Men typically don't like to shop. So when they build a relationship and they trust you, they're going to come back to you. And then also referrals and things of that nature. I think at that time, it was, in terms of clienteling, there was kind of an understanding of it, but people weren't delving into it from a sales perspective. They were getting the sale and moving forward. But you develop relationships, you build rapport, and people come back to you, they trust you, and they refer you people. So that's very important. Keeping names and relationships is very, very important that people miss. So in this day and age, with COVID-19, the big box retailers like Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom's and Saks Fifth Avenue, Chapter 11, Lord & Taylor Chapter 11, Barney's Chapter 11, you know, all these big companies, middle and high end, the whole landscape of business has changed.
So let me ask you, do you subscribe to the notion that because of these big box iconic stores are closing, do you think that has opened an opportunity for independent people to come about and maybe build their own brands and their own customer base?
Absolutely. And I feel that because Right now, people don't have an outlet to go to. Usually people go to stores and we rely on the salesperson to tell them what the new fashion and trends were. Now people like myself who are custom clothing stylists really work with individuals. So to kind of, where people see a detriment, I see an opportunity. This is an opportunity to build your base and really get deeper into a person's wardrobe, their closet. My job is to help maintain, balance, and coordinate a wardrobe. And so now that those big box retailers are not there anymore, even more for me as a consultant to consult with them, to help them to understand, you know, for their first wardrobe, secondary wardrobe, third wardrobe. It helps them, and that's where the opportunity is. And people kind of miss that because we're consultants. And so now we have the opportunity to do this. I have the opportunity to do consulting, but now I have the opportunity to do custom as well. So I'm married to both.
So let me ask you now. There is, in my view, I think there's some possibility that people can look online and see product and then maybe make an appointment and go in store to try to marriage the high tech and high touch. I just want to get an idea of what you feel about that particular process in the
Very
business.
important. But also remember, this whole internet thing has opened up business. Now people are going virtual. You don't necessarily have to be in front of somebody to make an appointment. You can do a virtual appointment and learn everything you need to do with a virtual appointment because, you know, 6 feet and the COVID. So we can basically build that relationship over a period of time, and once things settle, we can get together and take those physical measures, letting me know, you know, what you're looking for, and then I can do all the legwork. So when I come to you, it's kind of all said, and I know what you want, I know what you're sizing, I know all of that. And I think that's very important because that's where the consultation and professional comes in. So there's an opportunity if we view it that way, because like I said, these box shop retailers are closed.
Right.
In rows.
Right.
So that creates opportunity. It's just how we navigate the opportunity, how we position ourselves through social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, how we position ourselves and build a following and then referral-based business. I think it's very, very important that we understand that.
So what do you think the future of the clothing business is going to look like, let's say over the next 5 years?
The new normal, we don't know what it's going to look like until we can come to terms with, we're in the middle of a pandemic, COVID-19, until we come with a vaccine. Even then, there's going to be a space where we got to kind of navigate and figure it out. So we don't know how retail will look, but that's where the opportunity comes for us to allow ourselves to create a space, to allow us to create a space and create our own niche with our own name and a brand, and be an influencer and a consultant that they count on us, and basically build a relationship with the brand. So they no longer can go to a retail store because they're going through you to get a brand,
right?
Introducing the brand. So an influencer, so I can come to you and say, Mr. Thorpe, when I have this and this and this, through the relationship with you, I can introduce you to other brands that you wouldn't have known about just going to a big box retailer. Remember, the buyers buy based on what they see.
Parrish, man, thank you so very much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing all the great success that you're going to have in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
So Barry, man, it's good seeing you. How's everything going?
Everything's fine, Kev. God is good. I'm alive.
So I know that for many, many years you've been a very independent clothing entrepreneur. And I want you to talk a little bit about that process. And I also want you to talk about the first time you got into the clothing business.
Okay, well, it's now going on my 27th year in retail. I converted after about 15 years. I did both. Did general retail off the rack and then custom clothing. So it's been a long journey. It's fun, it's exciting. At times it can be a little headache, but that comes with the territory.
I want you to talk a little bit about the environment that was surrounding you the time that you first got into the clothing business, like building customer relationships and like when you would go buy fabrics down at the garment district. I kind of want you to talk about that period when you first got into the custom side of the business.
The custom side started about 2000, and that was just basic curiosity of just wondering what was going on, like the clothes that I used to see inside stores. I said, let me see basically what it all contained to. So I went down and snooped around, started feeling fabrics. Was always an old soul, so you know the chalk stripes, houndstooth, different fabrics already was into that. And now it was like, how much does it cost, and the components, the facing, and the buttons, and everything. So it was a general interest, and it just elevated.
I want to talk a little bit about the very first time we met at a clothing store on Fulton Street and right off Broadway near Wall Street. And I had come off illness, and I was coming back into the trade, and we were working. And I remember you, the first time I met you, man, you were a beast on the selling floor. And I said, God, this is a blessing, because I finally had a chance to work with somebody right out the gate that would really make me get back on my feet. And I have to tell you, man, you were a beast on the selling floor. You didn't let anything go. You knew how to back sell. You know how to build a relationship with customers, and I was just so impressed by that, man. And I have to thank you so much, man, because you came into my life really at the right time and the right place, and especially in that clothing, rag trade, selling environment that was near and dear to my heart. And seeing a young guy like you that had that kind of energy, it really motivated me to really add another 5 or 6 years to my career in the business, man. I want to thank you for that. But what I really would like for you to talk about now is, since the pandemic, you have moved your operation to another level, a more creative level, and I want you to talk about that.
Well, as far as the pandemic took a profound adjustment for me, because just as it transpired, I was getting ready to be assistant manager at a store, and it just shut me down immediately. So in the panic mode, I was looking to get anywhere as assistant, stockroom, anything, just to have a part-time job to keep revenue going. And I missed about 5 to 6 weeks of the crucial moments when it first started. And then something hit me, and people kept telling me, why are you trying to get a job instead of doing custom masks as opposed to custom clothing? And that's where it all started. And what happened from there, I just started just figuring safety first, which then you can give that flair of fashion. You know, different characters on the mask, different fabrications. But the main thing was safety. And whatever you were breathing, it had to be a cotton. It had to be linen, something that you could breathe easily. But it's now turned into like this kid in a candy store thing for me.
So now, you know, I like the way you talked about how you introduce particular fabrics, because basically that's our work. We're from the rag trade. And for you to have the thoughtfulness to incorporate all these safety mechanisms into particular fabrics, I thought that was fascinating. And so tell me about some of the styles, because you're for me is the person that really started masks as a fashion accessory. And I want you to kind of explain how that process started.
Well, like I say, it was a survival mode for me that turned into, you know, once again, the passion of fashion. Being that I love seersucker, I love houndstooth, I love the older prints. A lot of them you can get in cotton, which takes you more breathable. As the winter goes on, I'll get slightly heavier fabrics. I'll never do vinyl. A lot of people that are doing the piracy thing with the Gucci, Fendi, and so forth, they have vinyl that you can't breathe.
Right.
So I will have some pieces underground, but they're microfiber and you can still breathe. Right now I'm developing about 12 to 15 different styles for just kids. Like kid-friendly floral prints, softer prints. And then for the adults I would get funky and put black power, you know, all kind of different things. But you have to have some kind of meaning. It can't just be fashion. It's got to be something that has a cultural situation, what's going on now.
Barry, what do you think the future is going to look like in the clothing business? Where do you think we're going?
The clothing business is actually going to be online. Brick and mortar is going to die slowly but surely, because the landlords, the rent, and just people sustaining the whole going to shop thing. So it's going to be online. And this pandemic thing with the mask, I'm calculating, because the youth are not taking it as serious as they should, I think it's going to last nothing less than 2 more years. And that's just with deep prayer, because they're still running around, motorcycles, smoking weed, and they don't understand that whole pattern of lifestyle has to change.
Well, Barry, thank you so much for your perspective, man, and I really wish you a lot of luck going forward, man. You've been an inspiration to me, and I just wish nothing but the best for you, man. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you, brother.